Guys, dreams do come true. Just look at it. A proper Roland JP8000 emulation by Arturia. Isn't it just gorgeous? I've been waiting for ages to get my hands on one of these synthesizers, and it's not only about the sound, but for the workflow too. You can tell me that most modern synthesizers can do the famous super saws and even way more. But what makes this synthesizer special for me? Well, in this tutorial, I'm going to answer this question and show you why I think this synthesizer is a big deal and why it's so special for me. Hello Internet and welcome to a new tutorial. If you like my content and want to support my work, don't forget to leave me a like, comment and subscribe. And if you feel like buying me a coffee, there's a super thanks button for that. Now that said, let's dive into this tutorial. A quick overview of the JP8000 by Arturia. We have a couple of oscillators. The first one has the super saw, the famous ones. It has a triangle mode, noise, feedback oscillator, PWM, sawtooth, and triangle. The second one is very basic, only three shapes, triangle, PWM, and a saw wave. Both oscillators can be cross-modulated. This is some sort of FM. They can be synchronized, ring-modded, and we have a really simple AD envelope to modulate the pitch of these oscillators and the amount of the cross modulation. Speaking of modulation, we have a very basic LFO with the basic shapes triangle, square, sawtooth, and random. It can be synchronized and retriggered as we like. Above the LFO, there's the famous super juicy filter of the JP8000. It's a state variable one, so we have low pass, band pass, high pass shapes with 12 and 24 dB slopes for all of the shapes. The synthesizer offers us bass and treble shaping control and 4 effects. Now, this is different from the original that only had 2 effects, chorus and delay, but as the usual, Arturia did spoil us with 4 effects instead of 2. Now, what makes the synthesizer special? Actually, there are 2 points. The first one is the advanced section in here. We have a multi-ARP in the advanced section to drive the synthesizer. We have 4 slots effects in here. These are the same effects found in Pigments, so you know that they sound awesome. And we actually have a new one. It's a trans gate module. We have 3 modulators, but these are special. See, usually Arturia limits the destinations of each of these modulators, but in here, just like they do with their multi-effects, there's technically no limit. See, I can take the function generator in here, put it on the coarse pitch, detuning, the mix, the fine-tuning, and there's no limit. And actually, if I hover the mouse over the shape of the function generator, I can control the intensity of all of these modulators. So you're getting the sound and workflow of the JP8000, but with modern functionalities. And this is something I respect when developers actually think of the user. I mean, it's 2025. If you want to stick to the original and use the same functionalities and workflow, well, you can do that. But if you want to spice things up and push this synthesizer to a whole new level, well, you can do that too. And this is awesome. Hats off, Arturia. To finish the advanced section, we have the keyboard modulators in here. Basically, you have the mod wheel, key tracking, velocity, and you can change the curve of these modulators, just like so. You can set it to whatever you like, just like in Pigments, by the way. And we have the macros in here. And by the way, these macros are special because check this out. If I want to modulate, let's say, the bass in here, so we have the modulation amount. We can set the range exactly the way we like. So they're giving us a lot of flexibility in here. We have also a curve editor, or in Vital or Serum, it's the mode remap. Now, it's too bad we can't double click on it and actually draw our curve, but we can't ask for everything. And hopefully Arturia in future updates, they will add this functionality. All right, enough talking about the synthesizer. Let's play it and let it speak for itself. Now, the first example is, I have to do it. It's this super saw example. Just listen to this. Check this out. So this is a basic patch. Right, let's close the cutoff a little bit, give it some detuning, a little bit of mix. Oh, that's sounding awesome. Let's open this filter with the envelope a little bit, just like so. Some attack, let's give it some sustain, a bit more decay. So we have this. Wow, actually fast attack. Sounding awesome. Let's give it some release, more release on the filter. Let's give it a little bit of resonance. Some bass. Whoa. This is... I hope you have headphones or monitors on because this thing is sounding fat. Let's give it some reverb. Just wow. But this is a classic sound, right? Let's put that filter in action and see what it's capable of doing. So the first thing I want to do, let's initialize this patch, right? Let's keep it on super saw. Let's close this filter, right? Give it some resonance. And let's open it with a plucky envelope just to hear the cutoff. Let's give it some reverb. Let's take the oscillator one octave lower. This filter doesn't joke. Let's set the decay to something faster. Take the oscillator another octave lower. This filter really, wow. Right? Let's create that famous, I like to call it agility. It's super simple. Let's initialize the patch, set the oscillator to a sawtooth, close the cutoff, set it to bandpass. Right? Take it a couple of octaves lower. Give the filter some resonance. Do you hear the... It's quirky. I think that's the word. It's quirky, right? The LFO, let's set it to sample and hold, retrigger. Let's sync it to 1 and 4 and use it to modulate the filter. Wow. Let's give it some delay. Let's set the delay in here to, yeah, it's already on ping pong. Let's set it to, yeah, 1/8 dotted. This is sounding super nice. Let's turn on the multi-ARP in here, right? Let's set the node gate randomizer. Let's close it. The node gate length. Let's close it. Set some randomization here. So we have this. You know what I'm going to do? I'll take this AD envelope in here and I'll set it to modulate oscillator 1 and 2. Give it some amount. So we have some sort of squelch. Let's take the resonance down a bit. The decay is way too slow. Let's set it something faster. Let's modulate the pitch of the oscillator with the random LFO, but in the opposite direction as the cutoff. Or maybe with the same direction as the cutoff? And you know what's interesting? Now we have this really juicy sound of the JP8000, and now I can take this second random modulator in here, make it modulate the envelope modulation amount in here, right? Set it to something like this. Let's set the random module to unipolar, set the rate to, yeah, 1/8. Let's make it retrigger. Now we have this. And let's take this function generator, make it modulate the cutoff of the filter. Let's set this function generator to bipolar, right? I'll set the rate to maybe 1 and 2 bars. Now we have this. Oh, and the retrigger, let's set it to ARP sequencer start. So now we have this. You know that this juicy character can only be achieved this easily on this synthesizer. Just wow. Now, the sounds we've just heard, as I mentioned, they are classics, right? They focus on saw wave and the characteristics of a filter. Now, let's see what the synthesizer actually has to offer us more than just a saw wave and a filter, right? So the oscillator section here, we have an oscillator called the feedback oscillator. Just listen to this thing. Right, let's take it an octave lower. So we're getting those kind of like dubsteppy character from it, right? And we can actually modulate this harmonic fader in here with the first function generator, just like so. Let's set it to a ramp up shape like this one. Let's synchronize it to maybe 1 and 2 like this. Right, let's set it to envelope mode, one shot, just like so, and make it modulate almost all the way up. Right, and now we can take this bandpass filter and close it. Let's set it to 12 dBs. Right, let's use the same function generator to modulate the cutoff. Nice. Let's try modulating the pitch of the oscillator. Wow, those effects, man. Maybe slower attack. This thing can scream in all kind of crazy directions. I love it. Let's take the effects in here. Let's add some delay. Let's go with ping pong. Wow. Let's close the filter of the delay, the low pass one. Let's take the sustain off from the amp envelope. Let's set the decay to something a bit faster like this. Now I have this. Let's take the LFO, set it to retrigger, synchronize it to maybe 1 and 4, sample and hold, make it modulate the cutoff. Set it to maybe 1 and 16th, 1 and 8. Okay, bad idea. Let's take it off, and I want to show you a real-world example of how I'm using this feedback oscillator. Alright, so I'm working on a new track, and I've created this patch for it. It uses the feedback oscillator, right? We have the first function generator modulating the harmonic section of the feedback oscillator. We have the randomizer in here modulating the feedback, basically, of the feedback oscillator. And we have the play me macro in here that controls the filter cutoff, which is a bandpass and 24 decibels per octave. As for the effects, I've added a transgate, some OTT in here. The multi-filter is a comp filter just to give us some bursts of basically, let's say, fast delay, or I like to call them fragments. And we have a very basic 1/8 dotted ping pong delay. Right, with some kick and bass, we'll get this. Check this out. I'll be just modulating the play me knob in here, which is basically the cutoff. Just listen to it. If you like these patches and want to have them in your arsenal, I share them with my supporters on Patreon, so you know where to find them, link in the description. That said, let's get back to the tutorial. Earlier in the tutorial, I said that there are two things that makes this synthesizer awesome for me. The first one, we just talked about it, the advanced section. But the second one, the reason that makes it what I like to call a day-to-day synthesizer or a workhorse synthesizer is the fact that it perfectly mixes limitations with endless possibilities. See, the structure itself is very limiting. You have only a few kinds of oscillator, very limited by today's standards, filter but sounds awesome, only one LFO, 2 envelopes, very basic effects. Well, Arturia pushed them a little bit, but with the addition of this advanced section, you can push things really far with the synthesizer and actually use it to create a track. And this is exactly what I've done in here. I've used the JP8000 emulator to create the draft idea of this track. There's only the JP8000, everything in here, but for the kick and bass and the drums. And it sounds like this. 8000V is part of Arturia's new V Collection 11 that has 4 new instruments, including an awesome SEM emulation. If you want to see me using them in action and learn some new sound design tips and tricks, videos are being uploaded to my Patreons. And if you want to dive deeper into Psytrance production and sound design, check out my preset packs and masterclasses, links in the description. And with this is the end of this tutorial. I really hope you've liked it. I'll see you in the next one.